Epstein. It's like a fake bronze statue, or it appears to be. I didn't touch it.
Celebrating the friendship, the great friendship.
And it's Donald Trump frolicking with his best friend Jeffrey Epstein, and there's placards.
National Park Police have removed the Trump Epstein statue from the National Mall. Now,
Washington, D.C. witnessed an unusual and highly controversial scene this week. On Tuesday, a life-sized bronze-painted statue suddenly appeared on the National Mall, one of America's most iconic public spaces. The statue depicted former President Donald Trump and late financier Jeffrey Epstein hand in hand, smiling, with one leg raised as if caught mid-dance. Both figures stood on white plinths beneath a plaque that read, "Best Friends Forever." The U.S. Park Police, acting before sunrise, arrived with a truck and removed the piece from the mall.
Today, someone posted a video on Reddit of the National Park Service, you see right there, removing the statue.
Videos of the removal quickly circulated online, confirming that the short-lived display had been dismantled almost as swiftly as it appeared. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for the latest updates. The next main question is why it is removed. According to a spokeswoman for the Interior Department, the reason was procedural rather than political. The statue was not authorized. Federal law requires a permit for any installation on the National Mall, and no such permit had been granted. The official statement read, "The statue was removed because it was not compliant with the permit issued." Authorities further explained that unauthorized objects, especially in sensitive public spaces, are treated as potential security hazards until verified. This meant that regardless of its subject or symbolism, the installation could not be allowed to stay. Who was behind it? Soon after its removal, responsibility for the statue was claimed by an anonymous art collective calling itself the Secret Handshake. In statements shared with outlets such as NPR, the group said their intention was to use art as a protest against political figures and their controversial associations. They described the work as a reminder of Trump's past social connection with Epstein, a man whose name has become synonymous with abuse of power and exploitation. The group characterized their action as satire with a purpose, an attempt to expose uncomfortable truths through public art. According to them, the cheerful pose of Trump and Epstein was designed to contrast sharply with the disturbing reality of Epstein's crimes, making viewers confront the clash between power, privilege, and accountability. What is the Trump's reaction? While Donald Trump himself has not yet publicly commented on the statue, individuals close to him have spoken out. His allies dismissed the episode as predictable and attention-seeking, labeling it a cheap stunt intended to embarrass him. Trump has repeatedly acknowledged that he knew Epstein socially in the 1990s and early 2000s. However, he insists that their friendship soured long before Epstein's arrest and eventual death in jail in 2019. Trump has described Epstein as someone he eventually distanced himself from, famously saying he was not a fan. The Trump camp also pushed back against recent attempts to revive the controversy. Earlier this month, Democrats released what they claimed was an old birthday note Trump had written to Epstein, containing the line, "May every day be another wonderful secret." The White House strongly denied its authenticity, calling it a political fabrication. To Trump's supporters, the statue was nothing more than the latest attempt in a long series of efforts to link him to Epstein. Now come to the public reaction. Public opinion on the statue was sharply divided. On social media, critics of Trump praised the piece as a bold and creative way to highlight his past connections. Many described it as powerful protest art that spoke louder than words. Meanwhile, Trump supporters condemned the installation as disrespectful and defamatory, arguing that it was another orchestrated effort to attack him through sensationalism. News outlets across the globe covered the story, with The Washington Post, Reuters, NPR, and BBC giving it front-page treatment. For some, it was an amusing stunt. For others, a serious reminder of unresolved questions about accountability. Within hours of its appearance, the statue had become the center of attention. Passers-by photographed it, social media lit up with debates, and journalists rushed to cover the installation. By early Wednesday morning, however, the spectacle was over. The incident comes at a politically sensitive time. Even out of office, Donald Trump remains one of the most polarizing figures in American politics. His critics see the statue as symbolic of his questionable associations, while his supporters view it as an unfair smear designed to tarnish his legacy. Analysts note that the installation and its removal reflect the broader struggle over Trump's public image. In an era where every action is scrutinized, even an unauthorized art piece can ignite national debate. The choice of title, Best Friends Forever, and the exaggerated, almost joyful pose were deliberate. Art critics argue that the statue's lighthearted imagery was designed to jar against the dark reality of Epstein's crimes. This clash between the cheerful and the sinister created a sense of unease that made the installation effective as protest art. It invited viewers to question not only Trump's past associations, but also the broader issue of how power can insulate individuals from accountability. This was not the first time that Trump or other political leaders have been targeted by provocative art installations. In 2016, an art group called In Decline placed naked Trump statues across several U.S. cities. During the Brexit years, caricatures of UK leaders became common in public protests. In 2020, statues of Confederate leaders were toppled and replaced during Black Lives Matter demonstrations. These examples highlight a growing trend. Art is increasingly being used as a political weapon. The Trump-Epstein statue fits squarely within this pattern, designed to embarrass, provoke, and force uncomfortable conversations. Officials emphasized that the statue's removal was not about its message, but its legality. The National Mall, being a federal space, has strict guidelines. Any unauthorized installation is automatically subject to removal, regardless of whether it is political, artistic, or commercial. Security experts also noted that in today's climate, any object placed without approval in such a prominent location could be treated as a potential threat. This legal and security framework gave authorities little choice but to remove the installation, even as debates about its meaning continued. The incident did not remain confined to the United States. International media outlets picked up the story, framing it within a broader narrative of protest art targeting Trump. Just last week, 4 individuals in Britain were arrested after projecting images of Trump and Epstein onto Windsor Castle during his state visit. Combined with the D.C. statue, the two events were seen as connected acts of transatlantic protest. The controversy raises a familiar question: where does free expression end and personal attack begin? Supporters of the statue argue that it is protected protest art, designed to spark conversation and hold leaders accountable. Legal experts point out that unless explicit defamatory lies are stated, such works generally fall under free speech protections. Critics counter that repeatedly depicting Trump alongside Epstein risks misleading the public and damaging reputations through innuendo rather than fact. The sudden rise and fall of the Best Friends Forever statue on Washington's National Mall is about much more than an unauthorized installation. It is a snapshot of America's political climate, divided, charged, and eager to debate every symbol. For critics of Trump, the statue was a daring work of protest art. For his supporters, it was yet another smear. For the authorities, it was a simple matter of enforcing regulations. But whatever one's perspective, the statue achieved its goal. It forced people to confront uncomfortable questions, reignited debates about Trump's past, and proved once again that art and politics are inseparable in today's world. And as long as public figures remain polarizing, such protest art will continue to surface, sparking outrage, conversation, and controversy wherever it appears.